One of the ideas of being in England during January was that I thought it would be quite a bit milder than Scotland. Though having spoken to friends up in Scotland, it's often been milder where they are than where I've been. That being said, I have spent a lot of time stopping by friends and family, and that has taken the edge off the winter, and the long January. It hasn't felt that long at all, it's gone quite quickly for me. Sometimes when I'm visiting people, I do stay with them and take a few nights inside. Sometimes I still stay in the van, but it's still a lot easier as I have access to hot water, usually some hot food provided, and often ample showers. These things make quite a bit of a difference to one of the hardest, darkest months. I do find that on a rainy day, it's absolutely lovely to be inside a house and be able to hide out, and still stand up. When it's dry, even if it's grey, I'm better off when I'm outside. Even though I do want to see people, and not everyone wants to be outside in the cold all day, I'm just better, happier outside. Even when I'm inside the van, I feel like I see a lot more of the day. Even though I'm not outside walking, I don't miss what's going on. I don't know if this makes sense, but when I'm in a house, I feel a lot more closed in, and like I miss a lot more of the day. Luckily for me, my parents' place, where I spent a chunk of time at the beginning of January, is really open, and at the top of a hill with lovely views, so I don't get quite as claustrophobic as quickly as I do elsewhere. It's weird because I don't always notice it happening. I think it's lovely having all the luxuries of a house, and then I just start getting in a funny mood and realise that I haven't been outside or in nature enough. I stopped by to visit an awesome friend who lives on a boat near Bath, and decided to take a wee wander around the city before I left the next morning. Despite living in and travelling around the southwest a lot for work in the past, I've never actually been to Bath. It was a rather grey morning, but I popped into the city quickly before heading on to my next stop.
You have arrived.
Well, that's helpful. Google helped me get a little lost on my way, and just as I was going to get frustrated by it, I was rewarded by this stunning sky that I wouldn't have seen otherwise. Cambridge is another city I'd never been to before. I had a friend come up from London to meet me for a catch-up and a mooch around the city. Although I haven't been a huge fan of cities the past couple of years, I do love architecture. It was grey and bitterly cold, so we did have to retreat inside for coffee and hot chocolates after a while. Awesome. It's too dark under here.
I remember.
I imagine the buildings look even more impressive with a little bit of blue sky behind them. People had told me Norfolk was flat, but I hadn't quite realised just how flat until I got there. It also means that when the sea goes out, it goes out so far. Hi guys, I'm out on the Norfolk Coast, which is somewhere I've never been before, and after quite a few days of very, very grey weather and me just getting a bit like, ugh, really kind of just, I need some sunshine. The sun is out and it's beautiful, and I got my sunglasses out for the first time in so many months I can't even remember. I do usually use them in the winter, but I don't think I've used them since like September. So I'm very happy to have my sunglasses out. It's an interesting bit of coastline. It's an interesting bit of the country, actually. Oh, I'm distracted by a cormorant. Possibly a shag. I can't tell from a distance. I need to be better on my birds. One of those two. So yes, I thought I'd say hi. I am going to try and capture some footage. I'm also not entirely sure if this sound is going to work because I'm trying out my new microphone, which is exciting, which connects to my camera. I haven't had that before. So we'll see if this works because it is a bit breezy, even though I'm like ducked down away from the worst of the wind. But sunshine and blue sky. Look at the blue sky. Very happy with the blue sky. Snacks. Snettisham was both beautiful and a bit bizarre. I imagine it looks very different in the summer when all these houses are back in use, but everything was boarded up for the winter months. Some of the properties definitely looked more cared for than others. It's an RSPB reserve, so there's obviously lots of birds to see. I also saw a couple of bird skeletons, but wasn't sure everyone else would find them quite so fascinating. You gotta love it when someone has wrapped up their rubbish before chucking it somewhere where it's ended up in the sea. Panstream is a rare beach for the east coast as it actually faces west, so you get to enjoy the sunset over the sea. It's nicknamed Sunny Honey, which I learnt from a comment on my video last week. There were such cool rocks on this beach, they kept me entertained for quite a while. There was a cool looking shipwreck down the beach, but when I got to it there was a guy taking what I would assume to have been some super cool photos, so I didn't want to get in the way of that by taking a closer look. This is a sanderling. I don't think I'd ever seen one before, and they were fun to watch as they're so speedy on their little legs. When I looked it up in my British wildlife book, it says, usually tolerant of human observers, which is very accurate in my limited experience. I found myself out at the wash, mostly because I'd seen a spot on the map called Guy's Head and just had to check it out to show my brother. Can you guess what his name is?